All right, kindergarten friends, we are going to start off this project with a large white piece of paper. Your name is already going to be on the back. Then, I know it's really hard to see, but there is a piece of tape on my paper. That piece of tape is in the shape of the letter L because my name is Miss Lumpkin, right? So, on your paper, you will have the first letter of your name on your paper in a piece of tape. I know it's super hard to see. Then what we are going to do is we will have your crayons, and what you are going to do is make a little box around that letter. It's hard to see on the video, but when you have your own, you will be able to see it much easier when you're looking at it. So I'm going to start making a box around my letter L. Do you see that? I know it's hard to see the tape, but you can see how I've made a box around my letter L. Then I'm going to pick out a new color, and I'm going to make another box around that box, just like that. And you can see that I've left a little bit of space between my first line and my second line. Okay, I'm going to pick out another color and make another box around that box. And I'm going to keep doing this with a bunch of different colors. You can see my box is just getting bigger and bigger. I'm gonna pick one more color. Maybe I'll do orange. And this one, it's kind of going off the page. I'm not sure if I have space for a line up here, but I think I have space to go right there. And I think I have space to go right here. I'm not sure I have space to go on this side or this side, so I think I'm just gonna leave it. Once I've completely filled up my paper, you're going to bring this over and show Miss Lumpkin so I can see that you have completely filled up your paper. Then I'm going to go tell you to get a paint shirt. I am going to tell you to get a table paper. I am going to tell you to get a paper towel that you're going to fold up a couple times. Then you are also going to get yourself some watercolor paints, a paintbrush, and then you will share the bowl of water with your table. So now I have my L piece of paper. I have all of my stuff that I need for painting. Now I am going to start painting. So these are the same colors that we used when we did our birds, when we mixed together our primary colors to make our birds. So remember, to do that, we had to kind of put a little puddle in our color first, and then we have to stir to mix that water in with our paint. So I'm starting with the color green. Then you are just going to paint around your letter. If you want, you can kind of paint over your letter because you want to make sure that there's no white spaces around your letter. So if you want to paint over it to make sure there's no, I'm just going to paint over the whole letter to make sure I'm not leaving any white spaces. Your tape of your letter acts as a resist. A resist means it keeps your paint from going onto the paper. So when we take that tape off later, you will just see a white letter for where your letter is, and there won't be any paint there. It's kind of cool. We also have our crayons, and crayons are made out of wax. So wax and crayons also act as a resist. So you will be able to see your crayons through your paint. So now I'm going to pick out a different color. So I'm going to wash off my brush. I'm not splashing, I'm just gently washing off my brush, wipe it on the edge and test it on your paper towel to make sure there's no more color in there. My brush looks really clean. So now I'm gonna pick out another color. I'm gonna put a little puddle in there. Stir, stir, stir. And now right next to where I just put my first color, which I did green, I'm going to put my next color, which I am going to do purple. You can see I really did a good job of mixing my paint with my water because my colors are turning out really, really bright. I'm going to pick out another color. So I'm rinsing off my brush, testing it on my paper towel. Looks clean. Gonna make a little puddle. Stir, stir, stir. And I'm gonna go around there. You can see I'm trying really hard not to leave any white space between my colors. I don't want to see any of that white paper when we're all done. You can see sometimes I go back and I get a little more water if there's not enough water in my paint. If my brush seems a little too dry, I can go back and add a little more water and stir it back up with my paint to make sure that my brush isn't too dry. I'm gonna rinse it off, test it, looks good. I'm also not using the black or the brown. We really want these to be super bright and happy, so we're not going to use the black or the brown today. We're sticking with just the colors of the rainbow. If you want to do your colors in a specific order, like maybe you like the rainbow order, you can do the rainbow order if you want, or I am just kind of doing them in just a random order. I started with green, then purple, then orange, then yellow, and now I think maybe I will do blue. Making sure to mix that up really, really good. I think I have a little more space around my edges to do one more color. So I think I'm gonna finish off with red. We use the table papers to make sure that we are not getting any paint on our table. If we get a little bit of paint on our table paper on accident, that's okay. That's what it's there for, to make sure that we are getting that paint that comes off our paintbrush on accident. It's going on our table paper instead of the table. But I am not going to take my paint and just start painting on my table paper. That is not what it's there for. It's just there in case we have a little bit of an accident. All right, you can see that my paper is completely filled up. There is no white space on my paper. Super fun that you can see my crayon line coming through. When this is all dry, I, Miss Lumpkin, will take your tape off so we can see your letters. These are going to look so, so pretty when you're all done. I can't wait to see them.